Scott, obviously today has been a monumental day for you and conclusion of the police investigation and everything in regards to the Grace Millane trial. How do you feel?
Oh, look, it's not about me, it's about the police. And so the police team are pleased, really pleased with the result. But ultimately it's what we did around the investigation and getting through the prosecution that's important.
Were you ever worried that you wouldn't catch Grace's killer?
No. Always, you don't know where investigation is going to go. And the fact that it came in sort of in December, people have Christmas leave coming up. I was available, I wasn't going on leave over the Christmas. We didn't know how long or where that investigation would take us. We were fortunate, it moved so fast. The cctv was so helpful and other technology that, we picked up obviously the accused early, and that helped the investigation, it helped the family.
Can you go into any more detail about the CCTV and the technology that played a part in finding Grace's killer and also finding her body?
Well, I think everybody knows around the CBD and across the country, CCTV now is very prevalent. So particularly in Auckland City, you can't move around without being seen on CCTV. So when we knew that Grace had been to the Sky City, we could go look there and then track her movements. And as we know, 9:40 that night on the 1st of December, we get her getting out of the lift at the City Life Hotel.
You had teams of people. How many people were working on this investigation at one time?
Look, at various stages, the investigation team grew. Obviously, when we ended up out at the Waitakere Ranges, it grew more with searchers, the search and rescue people, the scene people out there. So, as investigators as such, didn't have many investigators at the Waitakere scene, but we had a lot of other police staff who are experts in that search area. So, it grew.
They met that night, and then that same night he killed her. How, is this a growing trend that the police are seeing in New Zealand or worldwide?
Well, I think, dating apps now are definitely a growing trend. And people use them all the time. So, but it's no different than if you went out and you went to a bar and you met somebody for the first time. You still have to take some precautions and be self-aware and about who are you meeting, where you're going, who you're going with. But that's our society today. That's, dating apps are how we meet. So, there's nothing unusual in that. The technology, CCTV, that's been around for quite some time now, and so that's not new. The technologies around cell phones, well, we know there's cell phone sites that we can go and see where phones are polling, and so that sort of technology helps us as well. And it particularly helped us in the Waitakere Ranges.
Were you ever concerned, I know you've mentioned that you can't speak on this, but were you ever concerned during the trial that the rough sex defence would be accepted and the police and the Millane family wouldn't get justice for Grace?
Well, the rough sex defence, personally I think it's a cop-out. I think that, you're grasping at straws, because as I've said, to strangle someone for 5 to 10 minutes is not rough sex. And I've been in the police a long time, investigated for a long time, and I've never investigated a death which is a result of rough sex.
Do you think, I know you touched upon this outside, but do you think the defence should have been allowed to run with it? Do you think there needs to be laws in place that the defence team can't run with the rough sex defence?
Oh, look, I think that's the debate for, as I say, the politicians, those in the justice system, and I'm sure they'd come to the police. But I suspect any police officers say, well, they shouldn't be allowed to run that defence. What for me hurts is that it's just repeatedly re-victimising the family. They're allowed to use that defence, and as I said, the Defence Counsel, that's their job. The jury didn't buy it, and they came back quick time with a guilty verdict. So, does it work? I don't know. But at one stage I thought, we might get a manslaughter here. I never doubted that we wouldn't get a conviction. It was just whether it would be murder or manslaughter.
And lastly, Scott, I know this has taken quite a toll on not just you, but also the whole team around it. What's the plans now? Just back to work?
Well, once the investigation was completed, there's a period of time before the trial. Then the trial was quite intense, as you know. And then after that, we're back to doing work. And so, yeah, I've worked other cases, I've done other things. We just, it is our job, it's what we're paid to do. There's a lot of satisfaction in bringing to justice the offender for a family and just getting the result. And particularly in terms of this family, they live over in the UK. They're not from New Zealand. So when Dad was over here, initially during the investigation, or when Mum and Dad were over here for the trial, they got no family, friends or support. So it's really important that the police get in around them and support them.
How hard was that for them?
Extremely tough. As I say, basically they were repeatedly victimised, with Grace's supposed background and things like that. And they had to sit through that, and they were determined to sit through that, which they did. But I think today, they're pleased with the result today, but it's never going to bring Grace back.
As Mrs. Millane said, it's a life sentence that they have for the rest of their lives as well. I think you could see in the victim impact statements that were read out just that love there was for Grace and how integral she was to that family and how close that family are. And now there's a hole in their hearts, and the family not being torn apart, but there's a piece of their family that's an important piece that is missing.